Joel Smith, nephew of the ailing Ian Smith and the new head of the Smith Empire, approached me with a seemingly earnest warning about Justin Hunt and his supposed family with Tanya. His intense concern, however, felt misplaced, especially when I corrected his misconception about Tanya having a son. His reaction revealed a lingering protectiveness towards Tanya, a possessiveness that made me uneasy. What is Tanya truly planning, and what was her motive for entering our lives? Was Joel's warning a genuine attempt to protect me, or is he manipulating the situation for his own reasons, perhaps related to his past with Tanya? I tossed my cell phone onto the passenger seat with a dismissive gesture and turned my car to the New York University School of Medicine. The school guards had received prior notification of my arrival, so they waved me through the gate without hesitation. Director Shaw, a man nearing 50, with a reputation as a formidable neurosurgeon in the school, stood waiting for me just inside the entrance. He greeted me with a respectful nod and a warm smile. "Dr. Athena, we're so glad you could come." The small group of people clustered behind Director Shaw stared at the scene with open astonishment. Director Shaw, head of the Department of Neurosurgery, a revered figure in the field of medicine, displaying such deference towards a woman who looked barely out of her teens. It was a sight that defied their understanding. Ignoring their bewildered gazes, Director Shaw gestured for me to follow. "This way, please." I followed him into his office, my movements brisk and efficient. He waved off their unspoken questions, ushered me into his office, and closed the door behind us. My gaze, sharp and direct, swept over him. "Why the urgent summons, Dr. Shaw?" I asked, my voice cool and professional. He launched into an explanation, his tone earnest. "Dr. Athena, it's about a case, a 5-year-old child with a brain tumor. The location is extremely delicate, and there's a significant risk of damaging vital neural pathways. It requires your unparalleled expertise." He looked at me, his eyes pleading. "I know your schedule is incredibly demanding and this month is already fully booked, but this is a child, Athena. I'm begging you to consider it." He was about to launch into a heartfelt appeal, using every ounce of persuasion he could muster, when I raised an eyebrow, cutting him off. "That's it?" He blinked, momentarily speechless. I stood up, stifling a yawn. "Couldn't you have just called me? Instead of making me drive all the way here, just send me the surgical details, time, location, everything." Then, with a casual wave, I turned to leave. "I'm heading out." Director Shaw remained silent, watching me go, a mixture of relief and disbelief on his face. He hesitated for a moment, then called out, "Athena, the child's family, they don't have a lot of money, but if you take on this case, I'll owe you a significant favor." I paused, glanced back, and offered a curt, "Okay." Then, I continued towards the door. I walked towards the car park, my mind already moving on to the next task. But as I was about to slide into the driver's seat, a familiar voice called out, filled with surprise, "Nora, what are you doing here?" I turned to see Angela Smith and Lisa Black walking towards me. It had been a while since I'd last seen them. Angela's gaze swept over my car, then back to the office building, her brows furrowed in suspicion. "You're not here to apply for postgraduate studies, are you?" The question caught me off guard. Since establishing my life in New York, I deliberately distanced myself from anything related to California. Angela, my stepsister, and I had never been close. Our relationship was strained, fraught with unspoken resentments. I had no desire to rekindle that connection. Lisa, however, seemed more genuine. She had mentioned that they were coming to New York to take their postgraduate entrance exams. I hadn't expected to run into them here, though. I ignored Angela's pointed question and addressed Lisa. "Which professor are you hoping to work with?" Lisa glanced at Angela, a flicker of timidity in her eyes. "I'm still deciding. I was thinking of applying to someone less demanding." "Heh," Angela scoffed, interrupting Lisa. "How utterly unambitious. I, on the other hand, have a clear target. Director Shaw." She turned to me, her eyes challenging. "Do you even know who Director Shaw is, Nora? He only accepts a handful of students each year. Someone like you probably wouldn't even qualify for the exams." The idea that I could be a serious contender for Director Shaw's mentorship was clearly beyond her comprehension. I, however, ignored her completely. In my mind, Angela barely registered as a blip on the radar. Instead, I focused on Lisa. "Where are you staying while you're here?" "At that cheap hotel near the school," Lisa replied, her voice slightly apologetic. Don't worry about me, Nora. I'll be fine. She quickly glanced at Angela, a silent plea for me to drop the subject. You should go, Nora. We need to go inside and gather information about the professor's research interests. Go on. Are you serious? Tell me why you're really here, Nora, Angela demanded, her voice grating and insistent. I continued to disregard her. Okay, Lisa. Call me if you need anything, or if you run out of money. I turned and walked towards my car. Angela, however, wasn't about to let me leave. She stormed ahead, planting herself directly in my path. Get out of the car, Nora. Didn't you hear me? You? But I'd had enough of her petty provocations. I simply started the engine and accelerated towards her. The SUV surged forward, the engine roaring, sending Angela into a flurry of panicked screams. The tires screeched to a halt inches from Angela, leaving her frozen in shock and disbelief. Lisa gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. What would Lisa do? Would she finally see Angela's venomous nature? Or would this incident solidify her perception of me as dangerous? And what about Director Shaw? Had his esteemed colleagues witnessed my dramatic exit? Would this impulsive act jeopardize the delicate balance I had so carefully constructed in my new life?